Thank you, students. If you please move forward and get your certificates. Mrs. Brady.
Next, we're going to have our district mission and vision. Mr. Clark, could you remind us of our district mission?
Yes, our mission, Corpus Christi Independent School District, is to develop the hearts and minds of all students, preparing them to be lifelong learners who continue their education, enter the world of work, and become productive citizens.
Thank you. Dr. Hawkins, could you remind us of our vision?
Our vision is to be a world-class school system where every student is a learner, every learner is a graduate, and every graduate is a success.
Thank you. Keep that in mind as we move forward. And that's going to bring us to our audience participation of non-agenda comments. And before we begin, I'm going to remind that our audience that those who have submitted registration cards of the following board policy BED local requirements. Questions and comments must be addressed to the board, not to individual persons. 3 minutes shall be allotted to each speaker who wishes to comment on non-agenda issues. Speakers or others who make personal attacks against individuals or use abusive or defamatory language or gestures shall be ruled out of order and may be escorted from the boardroom by security staff. Expressions of hostility, including handheld placards and behaviors such as booing, clapping, or cheering, shall be prohibited before the board. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. If, after at least one warning from the presiding officer, any individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the individual removed from the meeting. Lastly, those having public comment should not approach the rostrum or members of the board during the meeting. Any materials for the board should be given to the board's administrative assistant. That said, we have 3 people signed up tonight. Our first guest is Virginia Garza.
Hi, my name is Virginia Garza. I am the grandmother of 2 CCISD students. I understand there's a new bullying reporting system called Stop It. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. That system is only going to be as good as the people that are handling the reports. If they don't handle them properly, it's not going to matter. That's what happened to my grandson last school semester. They were not handled properly. So you have to make sure that that happens. Parents and guardians, I understand that when someone tells your child to go kill themselves, that is actually something that you can have a police report made up. As per Chief Warnicki. So, make them write a report, because that happened to my grandson too, and the person he told forgot to tell those in authority, and it didn't get written up. That should have been a police report. Lastly, it's my understanding that the school district wants the campuses to handle everything in-house. They want the police department involved as little as possible, and that is wrong. What is the point of having a police department if they're not going to be utilized? There should have been numerous police reports made on my grandson's assault and on bodily threats, as per Texas Penal Code. Those are certified police officers, and they should be writing police reports. And I know, because I was a reserve police officer with the city of Corpus Christi, and I had to write police reports. So do better and document, because you're not helping the victims when you don't document. All it does is protect the perpetrators and the district, and that is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. And our next speaker is Matt Gamez.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Gamez. I'm a pastor of a local church here in town, and it's an honor to be here. The reason I'm here is to bring up, hopefully, the beginning of further conversation regarding a policy that you guys have. There's a policy, I believe it dates back a long time, that says that any property that CCISD owns, that it can no longer ever become a school again. We have attempted to purchase old properties, old buildings, and because of the policy and our desire to one day start a private Christian school, we've been told that there's a deed restriction that says it can never become a school because it's viewed as competition. The reason I bring this up is because I believe in your mission. It's a wonderful thing that we're here to educate all students, and if that's the case, why would we disclose that to where these kids could never have an opportunity to go to our school if we're trying to buy a property that CCISD owns? You guys have several properties that you're about to destroy, 7 campuses that y'all closed last year, and every single one of them are up to be demolished. And it would be a benefit to the city. It would be a benefit to other students who would never be a CCISD student to one day be one of our students. You guys have campuses that I believe would be wonderful for something that we are trying to accomplish. You guys know exactly how expensive it is to go build something brand new. It would be a benefit not only to us individually as a church and potential school, but to the community. What we do in the community helps so many people right now, and we want to do the same thing with young people. It would be a devastating thing for me to never be able to fulfill our dream and vision and watch one of those very same properties that is not available to be sold to us because of that restriction being sold to another business that, for all intents and purposes, is used for nothing regarding education. It's strange to me that we can put this restriction to where it can never become a private school in view of competition, but that same property could be a smoke shop. It become a bar. It become something else that has nothing to do with education. What we're trying to do is actually in kind with your own mission. And I'm here to hopefully begin the conversation for you to reconsider this policy. However old it is, reconsider changing it to one day being able to allow us to purchase a property and use it for its original intention as a school once again. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Shauna Fuller.
Good evening, President Trolley and school board members. Shauna Fuller here with thoughts on the 2025-26 School Health Advisory Council. First, I publicly thank the members of the CCISD Council for the work they did this past year. It takes a lot of personal time to evaluate materials and programs for compliance with state and federal laws and determine if it may be a beneficial addition to meet the district's health education and employee wellness goals, or if it needs to be chucked by the wayside. Second, although it was questionable this past year as to whether or not some of the SHAC members would be able to provide the scientifically accurate definition of a woman, they managed to plod along and not gum up the works with their transgressive political ideologies too much. In retrospect, the propensity of some SHAC members towards statutory ignorance just might have put the district in positions of possible legal noncompliance, as members of a subcommittee nearly did when they pushed forward multiple racially targeted DEI and gender identity curriculums for a full SHAC review. Granted, the curriculum's presenter failed to fully disclose to the subcommittee the curriculum's detailed lessons by merely presenting the table of contents for it. When the full curriculum finally was made accessible to the SHAC members and the public at large on the SHAC website, the item was quickly withdrawn by CCISD leadership just prior to the meeting presentation. This is thanks to continued involvement by public members who voiced concerns regarding the material and alerted the proper CCISD administrators who assist the SHAC members with their duties. I can provide one other example highlighting the need for increased SHAC member training on statutory requirements, but I have no desire to belabor the point I am making, and it is this. The moral character of a SHAC member is of utmost importance. If the Board of Trustees will seek out the most moral, upright citizens in our community to fill the SHAC, there will be significantly less of a need for you to hold the hands of the SHAC members. If you're not sure of the best way to determine the moral character of a person, may I suggest you start in CCISD's own classrooms? Look for the poster displayed prominently on the wall. It is the one which lists the 10 Commandments, the very foundation of moral law since it was first given to the prophet Moses. In closing, I have no desire to steal Ms. Watson's thunder of her own presentation, so I'll end my comments with much gratitude and hope for moral, upright decisions from the members of the 26-27 CCISD SHAC. Thank you.
Thank you. That's going to bring us to our special recognitions. Ms. Libby?
And just a reminder, when we have a lot of recognitions, the students are going to leave through the center aisle and they'll be going straight down this way. All right, good evening, President Trolley, members of the board, Dr. Roland Hernandez. This evening we have some wonderful recognitions to present to you. I'm going to go off script a little bit and begin by congratulating, there's a new sign in this room because we have a freshly minted state finalist for Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Roland Hernandez. We've been CCISD proud all afternoon since the news broke, and we look forward to you moving on to the next round in October. Next up, we have a nice grant from our friends at the Port of Corpus Christi. The district was recently awarded $100,000 from the Port of Corpus Christi to support the STEM Innovation Labs initiative. And this generous award will expand learning opportunities, and the program will begin with programs at Webb, CAFE, and Veterans Memorial High School. We are very honored to have representatives from the port here this evening. They brought a giant check to show us, which is great. And so at this time, I would like to invite forward Amy Polisic, Emily Tittle, and Karina Cordova to please come forward with that check and greet the board, and then I have some district staff to introduce. So go ahead and come forward, ladies. This will be a collaborative effort among many in our district. I'll begin by introducing Coordinator for Curriculum Development and Instructional Support, Stephanie Morrison, who wrote the grant. If you'd come forward, please, Ms. Morrison. We'd also like to invite forward Senior Director for Teaching and Learning, Dr. Cynthia Hernandez. Director of Blended Learning and Support, Yvonne Hine. Our Blended Learning Specialists for Science, Jessica Blair, Holly Sent, and Robert Strait. And at this time, I invite forward Interim Principal Annabelle Ramirez from CAFE, Veterans Principal Stevie Swanson, and Reb Principal Joshua Ozen. And to round out the group, Deputy Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Dr. Kelsey Wagner, and Assistant Superintendents for School Leadership, Dr. Sarah Owen, Dr. Elizabeth Perez, and Dr. Bruce Wilson. All right, hold those beautiful smiles, please. We've got one more camera coming. All right, congratulations. Thank you so much to our friends from the port. We're going to move on now to recognize students who have earned national recognition from the College Board. And I'm pleased to say we had so many students who qualified for this esteemed honor that we have broken them into groups, and tonight you're just meeting the first of several groups of students who have qualified. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to greet the board and receive a certificate, and you'll remain standing to take a photo. We will do a photo by school. When you finish, please exit down the main aisle so we can keep the evening flowing. We'll begin with Collegiate High School, Jacqueline Bercerel. Daniel Cornejo. Ryan Cueva. Melissa Current. Violet Gomez. Demetrius Huerta. Tanya Juarez. Christian Kittle. And Aaliyah Madrona. At this time, if Principal Dr. Tracy Rodriguez and Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership Dr. Bruce Wilson would please join us for the photo, we'll get the certificates to the students who could not join us this evening. Hold that smile, please. I see a few cameras up. Hold that smile. Make sure everybody gets what they want. You can get your photo. Okay, congratulations. Representing Moody High School, Mariah Breedveld. Isabella Gonzalez. Josue Ibarra. Zoe Leal. Faith Loera. Miley Melendez. Julie Trevino. And if Principal Dr. Enrique Vela would please join us, as well as Dr. Wilson. All right, hold those beautiful smiles. I definitely see some family members. Y'all come up and get the photo you want. It's okay. All right, congratulations, students. Please exit down the center aisle. Earning recognition from the College Board from Mary Carroll High School, Marcus Enscombe. Sophia Barrera. Hani Burnett. Andrew Martinez. Rylan Muniz. Nicholas Pacheco. Anna Peef. James Rivera. Brent Swanson. Jonah Vargas. Principal Dr. Jennifer Leos and Dr. Wilson, please come join the photo. All right, hold those lovely smiles, please. I do see some parents with cameras out. Come on up, y'all. Y'all keep smiling, hang in there. A lot of proud parents. Got one more camera. All right, congratulations, students. You make us very proud. Exit down the center aisle, please. And we also have some Miller Bucks who earned College Board recognition, beginning with Jasmine Phelan. Valerie Lasso. Matt Trevino. At this time, we invite Miller Principal Dr. Aurelio Tamayo, as well as Dr. Wilson, to please join the photo. Hold those smiles, please. See a proud administrator, proud family members. Keep holding those smiles. I see one more camera coming. Take your time. All right, congratulations. All right, last week we also received some very exciting news that we had 4 campus leaders who were selected by Region 2, Texas Association of Secondary School Principals and Assistant Principals. They seek to recognize exemplary performance among campus-level administrators throughout Texas. Principals and assistant principals, when I call your name, you'll please come forward to greet the board members and remain standing so we can take a photo with all of you. The Region 2 High School Principal of the Year, Dr. Aurelio Tamayo from Roy Miller High School. Region 2 Middle School Principal of the Year, Raymond Garza from Elliott Grant Middle School. Region 2 High School Assistant Principal of the Year, Anita Sinjlawi from Roy Miller High School. Region 2 Middle School Assistant Principal of the Year, Michael Garcia from Robert Driscoll Middle School. We'd also like to invite forward Dr. Elizabeth Perez and Dr. Wilson to join the photo. All right, hold those smiles because the adults have fans in the room as well. Hold those smiles. All right, congratulations. We have one more recognition this evening. It is my pleasure at this time to recognize School Board President Dolly Gonzalez-Trolley, who recently completed the year-long Leadership TASB program. At this time, I would like to invite forward Mrs. Angie Trejo. She's a member of Leadership TASB, of the Board of Leadership TASB, as well as on the board of Mathis ISD. She's going to present President Trolley with her LTASB diploma, and she's here to say a few words.
Good evening. My name is Angie Trejo. Like stated, I am from Mathis, Texas. I'm on my local school board. I also sit on the Leadership TASB Alumni Board. This evening, I am here to recognize Dolly Trolley, who completed a year-long training over 5 different cities, traveling over 3,500 miles, all in her dedication to 5.5 million public education kids in the state of Texas. I'm going to ask Dolly to come up and give us a few words maybe of her experience and what her perspective of Leadership TASB was.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for coming to our board meeting today and for being here to celebrate this with me. It was a really fantastic year. I really want to just take a minute and urge any of my fellow board members that would ever be motivated to try the program to try it, because wow, I don't know how many times have I come to you and said, we learned about this in Leadership TASB and we should look at this and whatever. Such a fantastic experience of not only learning to meet and meeting other trustees, but traveling to other parts of the state and learning about the different challenges that other school districts are facing and what their best practices are and how to really utilize those tools going forward. Anyway, such a fantastic experience. I'm so so blessed that the district poured this into me and really supported me in doing this. And I really hope that my fellow board members will take the opportunity to do it as well. Thank you, Angie.
I'd also like to add that Dolly joined a group of less than 10,000 board members in the state of Texas. There are over 8,000 school board members in the state of Texas, so to be part of this organization and complete the Leadership TASB program is an amazing achievement for Dolly, and I'm so proud of her. And thank you, Dr. Hernandez, for the support, and Board of Trustees for supporting Dolly through this experience. Thank you.
Okay, the Board of Trustees will now enter into closed session at 5:35 p.m. pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. The board has now returned from closed session at 5:59 PM. Do we have a motion?
Madam President, I move to find that Jesse Gonzalez, a one-year term contract teacher in the district, failed without good cause to comply with the notice requirements for resigning from his position with the district and has abandoned his contract, and the board did not consent to his resignation. I further move that the board authorize the superintendent to submit this finding to the TEA State Board for Educator Certification and request that appropriate sanctions be issued against the teacher.
Second.
You got me on discombobulated.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and sorry, I once again don't have this open. Okay, your deliberators are open. Did, it was clear. Sorry, I'm gonna do it again.
Everybody abstained.
Try it now. Still not working.
Show of hands.
Voice
Yeah,
vote.
can we do a voice vote? A hand vote, yeah. All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. Aye. Okay, nay? All right, motion carries. Okay, do we have another motion?
Yes, I move to accept the best and final bids for surplus property as discussed in closed session and to authorize the administration to take further action necessary to effectuate the sale of such property.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Bell and a second by Mr. Arredondo. Your deliberators are open. Let's try it again. See if we can get this one to work. Okay, not
Aye.
sure. Is it, yeah, show of hands?
Yes.
Aye. All right, any against? All right, motion carries. All right, next we have our administrative report, our 2025-26 annual School Health Advisory Council report. Ms. Leah Watson.
Good evening, President Gonzalez, Charlie, members of the board, and Dr. Hernandez. My name is Leah Watson. I'm the Director for Student Health Services and the coordinator for the pardon me.
Ms. Watson, is your microphone on?
Yes. Do I need to
Okay.
be closer?
Yeah, just if you can, that'd be great.
Of course. Is that better? Okay. Sorry. The coordinator for CCISD School Health Advisory Council. Today, you will be provided the year-end annual board report of the SHAC for last school year, 2025-2026. Let's review Texas laws that have established and directed the role of the SHAC. Texas Education Code 28.004 helps ensure that SHAC's health instruction reflects local community values and requires an annual report. House Bill 1525 required that SHAC meetings meet the following requirements. SHAC meetings must have minutes documenting deliberations, votes, and actions. Agendas must be posted 72 hours in advance of meeting. SHAC meetings must have audio or video recording, and both the minutes and the recordings must be posted on the district website within 10 days. The Board of Trustees has final approval of human sexuality instruction and curriculum. Parents must provide written consent before students receive human sexuality instruction, opting in versus opting out of instruction. The second was Senate Bill 9, which identified the SHAC's role to recommend grade levels and instructional methods for child abuse, family violence, dating violence and human trafficking to the Board of Trustees for approval. This includes parental consent of opting in, just as with HB 1525. It also requires the Board of Trustees have final approval of curriculum after 2 public comment opportunities and approval by the SHAC. SB 12, enacted at the start of last school year, increased parental involvement and consent requirements for school-based health and counseling services. This includes mental and behavioral health counseling, first aid and general health services, and state-mandated screenings. CCISD parents and guardians may opt out of any or all services with their preferences documented in the student information system. This option was provided during enrollment and is flagged in our student information system. SB 12 did not change existing district SHACs. However, it reinforced the importance of parental involvement and local community input in school health education. The duties of SHAC are quite expansive. As shown on this slide, both regular and subcommittee meetings involve substantial work to ensure that policies, procedures, and curriculum meet all legal requirements while remaining consistent with our community's values and expectations. Prior to 2021, CCISD maintained strong health and physical education programs both during and beyond the regular school day. Following the additional responsibilities assigned to SHAC through HB 1525 and SB 9, the committee has devoted significant time to reviewing and approving resources that support not only health education, but also comprehensive school counseling services, mental health initiatives, substance abuse prevention, and efforts to foster a safe and positive school climate. CCISD has curriculum, resources, and community partners to support instruction by PE teachers, coaches, health teachers, school counselors, and student wellness intervention specialists to provide Tier 1, 2, and 3 instruction and interventions to address the needs of our students. In order to implement a comprehensive and coordinated school health program, the role of SHAC requires careful review of curriculum, activities, and other health and wellness related educational programming to ensure all are appropriate for CCISD students. The SHAC, along with district-level representatives, assist in identifying curriculum resources and agency partnership presentations to be reviewed for consideration of inclusion into the district's comprehensive and coordinated school health programs. SHAC membership is board approved and structured to reflect the values of both the school district and the community it serves. Members include representatives from law enforcement, healthcare, community businesses, counselors, administrators, and teachers, and at least one currently enrolled CCISD student. In addition to the majority of SHAC membership must include parents of CCISD students who are not employed by the district. The names on this slide represent the dedicated member of last school year's School Health Advisory Council. Members serve a staggered 2-year term where half of the membership is newly appointed each year. Together, this committee works to provide CCISD students, parents, and employees with valuable information, school health and wellness initiatives, and resources to fully benefit from the district's educational opportunities. SHAC members are deeply committed to the students they represent and dedicate their time to thoroughly vet all health and wellness curriculum and materials. This process is time-intensive, but it allows us to ask the right questions and make informed decisions. District SHAC representatives act in an advisory capacity to the SHAC. We are present during SHAC and subcommittee meetings. This group of district leaders help to facilitate discussions on agenda topics and act as a liaison with community partners. The SHAC is required to meet a minimum of 4 times per year. During the 2025-2026 school year, SHAC held meetings here in the CCISD boardroom. To ensure transparency, CCISD posts agenda items and supporting documents on the public-facing SHAC website for families and other community stakeholders to review prior to meetings and throughout the year. We also welcome members of the Corpus Christi community at our meetings, where they are encouraged to share their perspectives on the agenda items under consideration during the public comment section. The CCISD SHAC incorporates the use of subcommittees to review curriculum materials leading up to all of the SHAC meetings. The 3 subcommittees are Social Emotional Learning, Physical Health and Nutrition, and Student Employee Health. They are facilitated by a district representative. SHAC committee members sign up to serve on one of these 3 committees. Since SHAC has approved the curriculum to build comprehensive programs, the subcommittees work to review or vet new material and presentations being brought forward to the district. This includes dissemination of information in written form, such as flyers and pamphlets. However, any material or curriculum associated with HB 1525 or SB 9 must come to the full SHAC committee for 2 presentations with public comment and approval. During the 2025-2026 school year, CCISD SHAC considered and approved the following action items. The first item is the District of Lifesavers, which is a collaboration between CCISD and the American Heart Association, bringing equity to all the campuses and exposure of CPR at all ages, implementing the Cardiac Emergency Response Plan. SHAC also approved the Travis Manion Foundation, Suicide Prevention by Mr. Randy Page to share his story on campuses, Asthma Education Workshop, Breathe CC, Testicular Torsion Education, posters posted at middle and high schools in the boys' locker rooms, bathrooms, and nurses' offices, Early Identification System Mental Health Screening Warning Systems, Safety Compass Program, Child Safety Program was approved during the March 19th meeting and will be brought to the board, and Stress Less Program for middle and high schools. The item with the asterisk required 2 presentations to SHAC, 2 public comment periods, and will be submitted to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now that we reviewed last year, let us look ahead for this school year. Our focus for SHAC in this 2026-2027 school year is to continue the transition from the year at a glance to a more effective system, enabling us to monitor utilization of SHAC-approved curricula and programs and evaluate their impact and benefit to the students. We will do this through our subcommittee work by reviewing our current memoranda of understanding and which approved curriculum is actually being utilized on the campuses. On August 17th, 2026, we held our orientation workshop for newly appointed SHAC members. We reviewed SHAC bylaws, attendance expectations, and meeting processes. We are excited about the 2026-2027 school year and the SHAC's work in reviewing potential programs to enhance our district curriculum. Parental involvement and attendance at SHAC meetings is strongly encouraged by the district. I would like to thank you very much for your time and attention. Are there any questions that I can answer for you at this time?
Thank you so much for your report. I know we are going to have some questions, and we'll start with Mr. Bell.
Sure. Thank you very much for this information, and the stuff that we cover is really, really important. I do have a handful of questions. You know, one of your emphasis is to get parents involved in this and get them to show up and everything. What kind of turnout at the 4 meetings did we have this year? Do we have a room full of parents, or a handful of parents, or 1 or 2 parents? Be honest.
Well, I'm new to this position, so I wasn't present at the SHAC meetings last year.
Is there anybody here that you were at the
Yes.
SHAC meetings?
Our meetings are well attended. Hi, I'm Sonia Zyla, Chief Officer of Accountability. Our meetings are well attended. We get a broad range of community members. We do have additional parents who attend, and of course, the representatives from whoever's presenting, they typically will bring
Right,
their teams
but
as well.
are there sign-in sheets, and how many
Yes.
parents showed up that were not part of the committee?
We
They
can
just
get that
showed up there with
information for you.
a
Yes.
handful? Okay, good.
We keep attendance, well, we don't have sign-in sheets of whoever's showing up, but
Sure.
we have a list of who spoke at public comment, and you know, we have recordings of the meetings, and we have record of all the
And
meetings.
that might be a good idea to get them to sign in and put an email or contact information, because I know trying somebody to find folks to serve on this committee is sometimes what's a struggle because of time requirements and things like that. And if we find folks that are showing up and interested, we might want to get them involved in participating in it.
Definitely.
How long do they have, if they want to come up and they're, you know, we're talking about one of the curriculum, how long do they get to, do we have a time limit, or we can just have a back and forth discussion about how long does a parent get to visit with the SHAC committee about whatever y'all are talking about?
So we follow Robert Rules of Order for our meetings. So if they're in public comment, they get the 3-minute period.
Okay.
Our presenters who are presenting, they have a 10-minute time to present, and then it's open to Q&A.
And so there is a Q&A at the end
Yes.
of any presentation,
Yes,
and a mom and dad.
before any action. Mhm.
Or mom and dad can come up and
Definitely.
get their 3 minutes of concern about what's going on.
Yes.
And when y'all meet, where do y'all meet? Y'all meet in here? Okay, good. And what time of the day do y'all meet?
We meet, I believe it's from 1 to 3, so we do provide lunch to the members of the SHAC.
Okay.
And then we have our meeting from 1 to 3, and
And I know there's got to be a
explores.
balance in there, because we want to be able to have a time that mom and dads can, if they're concerned about it, can show up to the meeting.
Yes.
Um,
And they are recorded and available on Teams.
And on what you guys got accomplished this year, which, by the way, it's a pretty nice list. I think y'all did some wonderful things this year. But can you put maybe a grade level in there, where I know the last one was a high school, middle school's mental stress program, but the other ones didn't really have a where are we implementing these different programs and whatnot.
We can get that for you
Yeah,
as well.
just for future references and whatnot. And I know that you guys, the SHAC committee, is always looking to do more, and that's a good thing. They're always looking, but more is not always better. I mean, sometimes let's get good at what we do.
Yes.
And get that information out to our kiddos. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. I just had one or two questions. On the curriculum that y'all are going to put together, am I understanding that you're yet to kind of finalize the curriculum? Is that correct? I'm looking here, it says curriculum required 2 public comment periods pending board approval. So on the curriculum that you're going to present, what's the timeline on that? I know, I guess it calls for meetings with the whole committee and everything, is that correct?
Yes, it does require the committee meeting, and I can find out. I don't know. Do you know?
Are you referring to the one that we're bringing to the board soon? It'll come to the board, I believe, next board meeting.
Next board meeting? And by then you will have had the 2 public comment periods?
Yes, the March meeting we had was the second time that presentation was presented and a public comment period was. So it's ready to come to the board. So
Okay, so you've already finished that?
Yes. So
Okay, the other thing, when members of the committee are absent, I know you have, 4 meetings? Is it
Yes.
They're quarterly? When they are absent, if and when they are absent, how does that work? Do they miss 2 meetings or 1, or how do they maintain their membership on the committee in view of absences and no-shows?
Yes, the attendance requirement is required 3 for them to attend 3 meetings. If they don't attend the 3 meetings, then they are subject to be removed from the council. And of course, we also go by, we always have to have a quorum for the meeting, and they can attend in person or via Teams.
Okay, so if they're by way of teams, are they allowed to vote on any initiative on the agenda?
Yes, if they're attending the meeting via Teams, they are still a voting member.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the report. Just a simple question. You mentioned that the committee, it's kind of divided in half as to 2 years so that you can have a rotation. Have we had the election or the selection of that group that's going to be new selected already?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then we can get an update as to the full committee for this year with the new members?
Yes, I can provide that for you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, I had a couple questions myself. On the, and I apologize if I missed this, but on the slide where you were describing the SHAC committees, subcommittees.
Yes.
And it says district facilitator listed. That's for the subcommittee. Is that always the same district facilitator, or is there different? Is that determined by a subject expert, somebody who specializes in that area? Or?
Yes, it's decided by someone that's a specialist in that area. So we will have one returning, Mr. Brian Davis, will be social emotional learning, mental health, physical health, and nutrition. We have yet to appoint someone to that. Ms. Kluhl was that for last year and has since moved on from the district. And then I will be the student employee health. So last year it was Veronica Sisk, and this year it'll be me. But that we'll carry forward just because we're the kind of the expert in that category for the district.
Okay. And then on the list of SHAC actions for 25-26, I know there was been some conversation with some members of the community about some of these programs ongoing, and so can you clarify, were all of these programs implemented to our students? Were some, I understand maybe some were just to parents as a preview, some are being maybe brought back on a rotational basis and to be presented to the SHAC? Can you provide any clarification?
With District of Lifesavers, that is in full effect. With the district, I know that the asthma education workshop after the SHAC meeting, that program was pulled, and then they're planning on presenting again in the future, so that was not presented to any campus. The testicular torsion education, we do have the posters up in all our middle school and high schools. That's the age group that we're aiming for, our boys. The safety compass is yet to come to board, so that hasn't been presented. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
The other two, Travis Mannion and our Mr. Page suicide prevention, that one went through the MOU process and is approved for implementation for this year, so campuses are able to access them, and those are presentations, and so the counselors have that on their year at a glance so that they can use it as a resource if the campus so chooses. Those are both directed towards secondary. And then the early identification system, this was part of a grant that we received in conjunction with Learn Safe, which we use to look at threat assessment data. And so this is a resource that our social workers can use as a mental health screening resource in the event they need to. And so that one is subject to Senate Bill 12 and will require consent and everything. But that one, we are implementing that this year if a campus chooses, and we're working, Mr. Davis is working with that vendor to get that going. And we're looking at middle and high school to pilot that in terms of that early warning system.
Okay. Let me just check. I think that's all I've got. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you so much for the report.
Thank you very much.
And next, I think we get to welcome Ms. Zyla back up for our district state accountability ratings and state assessment results.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Okay. So Good evening, President Gonzalez-Trolley, Dr. Hernandez, and members of the board. I am Sonia Zyla, Chief Officer of Accountability and Student Support Services, and I am presenting the final district accountability ratings and state assessment results that were recently released on Friday, August 14th, to all of you this evening. For the 25-26 school year, I am pleased to report that CCISD is rated as a B district with a score of 83. District ratings are calculated based on the proportional impact of each campus based on grades 3rd through 12th grade enrollment for each campus. Larger campuses, particularly secondary campuses, carry more weight in the district calculation due to larger enrollment and STAR-tested grade levels. The district demonstrated strong gains in overall student performance, resulting in improved campus ratings across the district. Some notable highlights include 7 campuses earning an A rating, an increase in the number of B campuses and decrease in the number of C campuses from 2025, no F campuses for the second year in a row. The 10 campuses listed, which includes 7 elementary schools and 3 high schools, improved by 1 letter grade. Cock-Wilson improved from C to a B. Cullen Place improved from D to C. Sanders improved from C to B. Shannon Estates improved from C to B. Shaw improved from C to a B. Smith improved from C to B. Travis improved from C to B. King High School improved from C to B. Miller Metro High School improved from C to B. And Moody High School improved from C to B. 39 campuses were awarded at least 1 distinction designation for a district total of 118 distinctions. Cock-Wilson Elementary, Sanders Elementary, Smith Elementary, Windsor Park Elementary, Zavala Elementary, and Brown Middle School earned all eligible distinction categories. To earn a distinction designation, a campus must receive an A, B, or C rating and perform in the top quartile of its 40 campus comparison group on the required indicators. In other words, the campus must rank among the top 10 of 40 comparable campuses in the category. TEA assigns each campus a unique comparison group of 40 similar campuses from across Texas, allowing performance to be evaluated alongside schools serving comparable student populations and operating under similar conditions. Comparison groups are determined using factors such as enrollment, grade configuration, mobility rate, and percentages of students who are emergent bilingual, receiving special education services, or are economically disadvantaged. Campuses may earn up to 7 distinctions in up to 7 areas: academic achievement in mathematics, RLA, science and social studies, as well as in post-secondary readiness, comparative academic growth, and comparative closing the gaps. This slide shows elementary campus ratings along with the number of distinctions earned by each campus. 2 elementary schools, Creekside and Windsor Park, earned an A rating. 20 elementary campuses earn a B rating, with 4 of those campuses, Houston, Sanders, Smith, and Webb, earning an 89, narrowly missing an A by 1 point. 9 elementary campuses earned a C rating, with 3 of those campuses, Colda, Manger, and Moore, earning a 79. As mentioned in the previous slide, Cock-Wilson, Sanders, Smith, Windsor Park, and Zavala earned all eligible distinction categories. The Early Childhood Development Center, or ECDC, being a pre-K campus, is paired with Barnes Elementary for their campus accountability rating. ECDC, being a paired campus, is not eligible to earn distinction designations due to its campus makeup. This slide shows middle and high school campus ratings, along with the number of distinctions earned by each campus. 5 secondary campuses, Baker Middle School, Branch Academy, Collegiate, Veterans Memorial, and Coles High Schools, earned an A rating. 6 middle schools and the 5 remaining high schools earned a B rating. Note that Coles High School is not eligible to earn distinctions because of its designation as an alternative education dropout recovery school. I will note that each year after STAR results are released, TEA conducts additional quality assurance reviews to ensure accuracy and fairness of scores and that students receive appropriate credit. These reviews include automatic rescoring checks, educator feedback, and adjudication of open-ended or text entry responses by content experts. This summer, TEA identified certain responses on STAR RLA assessments in grades 6 through 8 and English 1 that merited additional credit not reflected in original scoring. TEA has now revised those scores for any students who were affected, and as a result, these adjustments recalculated applicable accountability ratings for certain campuses across the state. For our district, Driscoll Middle School, the adjustment increased the overall accountability rating from a 65 to a 66, as noted on the slide. We continue to provide targeted support to campuses identified for school improvement under the leadership of our DCSI, or District Coordinator of School Improvement, Amanda Cameron, in collaboration with the entire curriculum instruction and school leadership teams. This table reflects the campuses identified for school improvement monitoring, including the student population that triggered the designation. School improvement is triggered based on underperforming student groups in the areas of RLA and math achievement at the meets grade level, RLA and math growth, emergent bilingual proficiency in TELPAS, and aggregated STAR performance known as student success. Campuses are identified for targeted support and improvement, or TSI, when one or more student groups demonstrate consistent underperformance. A student group is considered consistently underperforming when it does not meet interim targets or demonstrate sufficient progress towards those targets in the same 3 indicators for 3 consecutive years. Campuses are identified for comprehensive support and improvement, or CSI, when they rank among the bottom 5% of Title I schools within their school type for closing the gaps domain. This identification remains in place for 2 years, and campuses must demonstrate adequate progress in both years in order to exit comprehensive support status. Cullen Place Elementary was initially identified for comprehensive support and improvement during the 24-25 school year. During the 25-26 school year, Cullen Place demonstrated sufficient progress and is currently on track to exit school improvement status at the end of this school year, 26-27, provided the campus continues to demonstrate sustained progress. Through ongoing collaboration, monitoring, and targeted assistance, district's teams remained focused on supporting identified campuses in strengthening instructional practices, accelerating student outcomes, and meeting the requirements necessary to successfully exit school improvement status. Last spring, CCISD submitted 7 campus closure requests to TEA for the 26-27 school year. Every Texas public school campus is assigned a unique county district campus number, or CDCN, which is tied to campus accountability history and information. Therefore, when a district requests a campus closure, we are technically requesting that TEA close that campus's number, CDCN number. On August 20th, the TEA Deputy Commissioner of Governments notified Superintendent Dr. Hernandez and Board President Mrs. Gonzalez-Trolley of school improvement guidance regarding campus closures. TEA approved the 6 campuses listed for campus closure. The Texas Administrative Code 97.106 provides that if a school district reassigns a majority of students that attended a campus that was closed due to an unacceptable rating in the prior year to another campus, then the receiving campus may be assigned the CDCN of the closed campus and shall be subject to any sanction or intervention applicable to the closed campus, if the commissioner determines this is necessary to preserve the integrity of the accountability system. In other words, the accountability history can follow the majority of the students from the closed campus to the receiving campus. Because Martin Middle School received a 69 rating and has a 2-year consecutive unacceptable accountability history, TEA has reassigned Martin's CDCN and accountability designation to Cunningham Middle School at South Park. This is an administrative accountability action and does not impact the physical closure of Martin Middle School or the name and identity of Cunningham Middle School at South Park. However, as a result of the CDCN reassignment, Cunningham Middle School at South Park will assume Martin's accountability history and applicable state interventions. Cunningham at South Park will therefore be responsible for implementing the TEA-approved turnaround plan during the 26-27 school year. Looking ahead, if Cunningham earns an overall C or higher at the end of 2027, then the consecutive unacceptable history will reset back to 0, and no state accountability interventions will apply for the 27-28 school year. If Cunningham at South Park earns an overall D or F, then the consecutive unacceptable history will increase to 3 years, and the state accountability interventions will continue. Because Region 2 is primarily composed of rural and suburban school districts, CCISD compares its performance not only against districts within the region, but also against districts represented by the Texas Urban Council, or TUC. This slide provides a 2-year comparison of accountability ratings across all TUC districts. From 25 to 26, every TUC district maintained or improved its overall rating, reflecting continued progress in student outcomes among the state's largest urban school systems. CCISD's performance outperformed Aldine ISD, Alief ISD, Austin ISD, El Paso ISD, and Fort Worth ISD. This slide provides a 2-year comparison of ratings across Region 2 districts. From 25 to 26, every district, with the exception of Calallen and Westoso ISDs, improved their overall rating. CCISD outperformed Kingsville, Robstown, Toloso Midway, and Westoso ISDs. We will now review the district state assessment results. Over the next several slides, we will take a closer look at STAR performance trends from the past 3 years. For reference, throughout the presentation, 23-24 results are represented by the gray bars, 24-25 results by the black bars, and 25-26 results by the red bars. When we look at the combined results across all tested grade levels, reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies, the district showed continuous progress from the 2024-25 school year to 25-26, with steady increase across the board in the percentage of students reaching the meets and masters thresholds. The following slides will provide a closer look at results in each content area: reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies. These results highlight the gains made in STAR and end-of-course performance and reflect the coordinated efforts, strategic priorities, and hard work of teachers and team members across CCISD. Math STAR is tested in grades 3rd through 8th grade. While approaches performance in grades 3 through 5 remains consistent, there has been steady improvement in meets performance from 44% in 2024 to 49% in 2026, and master's performance going from 16% in 2024 all the way to 24% in 2 years in 2026. With a massive improvement in performance from 24 to 25, math grades 6 through 8 has successfully reduced its failure rate from 49% to 36% from 2024 to 2026. This improvement from 24 to 25 allowed for continued sustainability from 25 to 2026. Reading, language arts STAR performance include grades 3 through 8. While both elementary and middle school grades saw a 1 percentage dip in approaches performance between 2025 and 2026, grades 3 through 5 RLA has maintained a consistent passing rate at approaches and meets grade level performance over the 3-year period. There was also a 3 percentage points increase in the students achieving the master's level for grades 3 through 5, and a 2 percentage point increase in master's level for grades 6 through 8. Although there were significant changes to the Texas Education Agency with the implementation of the new science TEKS in grades K through 8, Science STAR performance in grades 5 and 8 still showed a significant improvement across all performance levels. Students reaching the approaches level or higher increased from 51% in 2024 to 70% in 2026. And students achieving meets jumped from 32 to 43%, and masters nearly doubled from 11% to 21%. Grade 8 social studies performance has shown steady incremental improvement over the 3-year period from 2024 to 25 to 26. Algebra 1 end of course showed significant improvement in performance. Approaches increased by 10 percentage points, rising from 71% to 81%, which means far fewer students are not meeting expectations. Over half of our Algebra 1 students performed at the meets level with an increase in meets performance by 6 percentage points. Master's performance remained consistent. English 1 and 2, end of course, showed steady progress with a 4 percentage increase from 67% to 71% and 5 percentage point increase in the meets category. Biology, end of course, saw the most substantial growth across all metrics. Approaches improved by 5 percentage points, reaching 92%. Meets increased by 11 percentage points, rising to 62%, and masters increased by 12 percentage points, jumping from 13 to 25%. While the U.S. history passing rate at approaches remained stable at 94%, the percentage of students reaching meets level increased by 5 percentage points from 62 to 67%. All students are required to participate in the state assessment program. A small group, about 1 to 2% of our students receiving special education services who have significant cognitive disabilities may be eligible to take the STAR Alternate 2 assessment. Eligibility is determined through the ARD committee process, and the committee must confirm that the student meets the state-established participation requirements. STAR Alternate 2 results are included in the district's overall STAR performance. However, this slide highlights those results separately. On STAR Alt 2, satisfactory performance is comparable to an approaches grade level on traditional STAR, while accomplished performance is similar to meets grade level. The red bar represents the student performance of STAR Alt 2 testers at the satisfactory performance level, and a subset of those students who performed at the satisfactory level achieved accomplished performance, represented by the black bar. Depicted on this slide are the grades 3 through 8 and end of course aggregated results for RLA, math, science, and social studies. TEA provides parents with access to their child's assessment results through the Texas Assessment Parent Portal. This portal allows parents to view their child's test scores and individual test responses, as well as access recommended reading materials and strategies to support learning at home. In CCISD, parents can access this portal using their Home Access Center credentials and clicking on the grades icon, as depicted on the slide. This option takes parents directly to the TEA Parent Portal without the need for the TEA Unique Access Code. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Okay, we definitely have some questions. Thank you for your report. I know this has been a much awaited information for everybody. So we'll get started with Dr. Hawkins.
I just have a thank you, Styla, for your reports. You always give a really comprehensive, good report, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to just have a couple of questions on this school improvement identification slide. I don't see a number on it, but that's the one. What's the, I'm looking at the bottom column, Place Elementary, Comprehensive Support and Improvement Progress, CSI, and then on the right it says white continuously enrolled. What does that mean?
So the far right are the populations that triggered the school improvement identification. So in the instance of Cullen Place, when they triggered comprehensive support in the 23-24 school year. It was for the white student group and the continuously enrolled student group.
I'm going to make one quick correction because I was
Sorry.
looking in.
Yeah, the federal target.
So I'm going to make one quick correction. This is Dr. Kelsey Wagner. When you're looking at this, Cohen Place is actually not targeted for white and continuously enrolled. So their comprehensive progress, they're on watch for that.
Yes,
If they don't break it this year, but they are not currently targeted for that.
They're carrying over their, yes. Yes,
Okay.
They're on watch for that.
Kind of stirred up a little beehive there, right? Okay, thank you for that information. No, I just didn't understand that. And I just also wanted to just comment or commend you on this last slide where you have the parent notification portal. I think it's really important for parents to be able to go online and look at their students' progress and or not and be able to understand that. I don't know what this portal looks like, but how much, I guess, when they are looking at this portal, is it easy, in your opinion, for them to really extract information, good information about their children? And is there anything there that helps them to help their children to be better students on that portal?
So it is intended to be a very family-friendly, public-facing portal. And so remember the old STAR report cards we would send out, the paper pamphlets, everybody's gone digital. So that same information they would access on the paper one we used to hand out is now accessible through here. And it's been accessible for years, but we were still providing the paper document. This year the paper document wasn't made available, so we want them to be able to access this. So yes, it shows them very easily. So this is actually, you can see I forgot to white out my daughter's name on there, but this is my daughter's, and it shows right here, and then when they click on the test, it'll take them into the test, and you can see what the student answered on each question, so they're able to see the test. So similar to when we get data early in the summer and our teaching and learning team and our teachers eventually can see the actual STAR test, they can see the individual student results of their child. So if we went in there and you could see what the child answered on their written response, on their extended construction response. And then it gives tips, it gives tricks, reading selections, their grade level, so other tips in order to just to help their ways you can help your child at home, and so it's meant to be very family friendly.
So I guess in the case of like ELA and stuff like that with the reading, does it offer any particular types of readings that could help the student based on how the student scored?
Yeah, it's offered like reading lists in the past, selected recommended reading. I know for third grade this year, they're pushing out a tutoring type program that parents can access if they choose. I know that's something that TEA was going to roll out or pilot this year. And so just ways for them to get additional assistance at home.
So is the tutoring from the parents, is that user-friendly?
TEA just recently announced it like over the summer, so we really haven't seen it yet, and so more to come on that. So we can get you more information on that once we get more.
That would be nice. I really appreciate the information that you're giving, and I just wanted to kind of, I guess, comment on the STAR alternate 2 and the STAR the biology and history. On that STAR alternate 2, they're just looking at two indices, it's math and science and social studies, but you're showing just accomplished and satisfactory.
Yes.
Are those numbers?
Those are the performance levels for STAR Alt 2.
Okay, overall.
Yes, so instead of, say, approaches or meets, on the STAR Alt 2, the performance level it's called satisfactory and accomplished.
Okay.
They're very comparable to approaches and meets.
Okay. I remember hearing that, but I was kind of into something else when you said that. So we just basically look at two areas or two levels.
Well, what it's shown, yes, and like for example, the first when you look at Math 2026, there on the far right, 94% of the students who took STAR Alt earned the satisfactory performance, and of those 94% students, 28% of those students scored high enough to be accomplished.
Okay. So my final question is, and you probably can't answer it, but I just want to say it, or ask it. Is there anything in the hopper for us to get this information in less than, have a delayed year?
In terms of?
Well, this information that we get from the state is usually a year behind, right? Is that not correct?
This
No.
is the STAR scores from
No.
last spring. Yep.
Oh,
These are the May,
okay,
this is the
so
spring
I'm
test.
thinking in terms of the taper.
Yeah, when I come back in February to
Okay.
share the taper with you, it's going to be this exact same data.
Okay.
So when I present the taper, it's the same test. So yes, it seems like a long time, but it's the same
does.
data.
It does. Okay, well, I know that our district has really, as my friend used to say, mashed the gas on trying to up the scores and do a really good job. And I do commend all of your staff and Dr. Hernandez for approving all of this stuff that we do to help our kids, and it is paying off. And so thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It's paying off.
Mr. Bell?
Yes, good news. You look at this, you're thinking, we're changing colors in the right direction and everything's trending the right way, which is good. I do have a couple of things. Martin, when we divided Martin Middle School up and closed it down, we sent half of those kids. It really split them almost, the population in half. And half of them went to Driscoll and half of them went to Cunningham at South Park. And Cunningham South Park had a 78, man. They're really close to getting a B average. And now they're getting dinged with a 69. That's, it doesn't seem like there's, why just them? Why didn't we include Driscoll in this conversation and whatnot? Because I'm sure those folks over at Cunningham and South Park.
I'll let Dr. Wagner.
So with that, Kelsey Wagner, and with that, we actually don't get a say in that. It's determined by the actual percentage. And you're right, it was very close. It was about 51% and 49%. So since Cunningham Middle School at South Park was getting the 51, they are automatically the one that gets designated with that. Had it been the opposite, it would have gone to another school. But when we submitted that in January of last year, it just was totally on where the boundary was and that percentage. We submit that to TEA, and then they make the determination from there.
Something doesn't seem right there. But anyway, also, why do when you're presenting this information, why do we group together like third and fifth grade and sixth and eighth grade and EOC, English 1 and English 2? Why do we group those together? Is there a way that we, when we see these charts and stuff, we're seeing trends, which is good. I like to see the trends. But there's a big difference between a third grader taking the exam and a fifth grader taking the exam, just the makeup of the kiddos and whatnot. Is there a reason why we group them together? Is that how you get the data, or do you all kind of put it together and present it?
We get, for accountability purposes, data is aggregated.
Why?
But we also do, that's everybody, because essentially everyone's getting thrown in the same bucket and coming out in the wash, and that's how you're graded.
That's how TEA reports out third and fifth grade, and so
Third through fifth. I mean, we also separate it, yes, for accountability purposes, yes.
So for us, for you guys, that we may have a real good trend going in our third grade, and we may be flattening out in the fifth grade, and I'm hoping that y'all are going to see that. Y'all crunch the numbers and
Yes.
get on the chalkboard and chalk talk and all that kind of good stuff. But for me, I'd really like to see how because the third graders are our kiddos that we started our first pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 through, and I really wanted to see how good they did. I really did. And
these little ones that you're talking about are outperforming the state.
Yes,
right,
they are.
and I really wanted to see, the hard work that our teachers did in pre-K 3 and pre-K 4, and how we beat the drum, and we really grew the program, and we really got our kids in there, and I really wanted to see the fruits of our labors and how it flushes out.
And third grade performance is our board goal 1, so
Yeah.
we do have that information.
So we have 3 board reports coming your way later on. we'll share all of that information with you.
Okay, it's kind of like waiting for Christmas. Okay.
I'm sure we can get you that data if you
Well, I
haven't
want to see
seen
my
it.
Christmas present for everybody else, okay? And then looking at this data, we have been really focused, laser focused on our RLA and our math, okay, and our curriculum and our attention. But when you start looking at the rest of the exams that they have to take, it seems like we have some work to do in our biology, social studies, and
Yeah, I actually want to jump in there because I know what you're going to say, Dr. Hernandez, and I was going to applaud the science and games because I was watching out for that very closely, and we grew tremendously in science, and I know you were working really hard on that, so kudos. And I'll say more for later, but I saw that.
I'm thinking of the STAR Social Studies grade 8, STAR Science grades 5 and 8. And I'm really looking at the did not meet. And here's the thing about statistics, is that statistics, these numbers represent kids. And you know, we graduate about 2,500 kids per class. And so when I look at grade 8 and we have 49% of our kids did not even meet grade 8 social studies, that tells me that grade 8, there's about 1,200 kids that are still struggling on that material. And so I know that we have really focused in on our RLA and our math and whatnot. The other stuff is looking pretty good, but I did notice that some things that I know that y'all dissect this stuff and is going to zero in on it. And then the STAR Alts test, how many kiddos take those tests? What do the numbers look like there?
I have that information, yes.
That's why I'm asking.
I can get you detailed information, but it's about 1 to 2% of our
Special ed population?
Special education population, yeah.
And we're at about 14% on our special education pop.
So the numbers are about 330.
And that's grades
for
three.
Well, I did it by content. So 330 for RLA, math, science, and social studies will have less just because science and social studies are tested less frequently. But if I look at the number of testers, I generally look at RLA and math.
Right.
And it's about 330 students across the district in grades 3 through EOC.
Yes.
And so that's that's your elementary school and middle school kiddos.
And high school.
And high school.
And
3 through EOC.
Algebra 1, EOC,
Yes.
and US
Yes.
social studies. Okay.
Yes, so our STAR Alt 2 students do take the exact same grade level sequence of testing. So they still take the 5 EOCs in high school, the 3 through 8 cadence of tests, so.
You know, and those percentages, I mean, they're really, really good. And I just really was interested in how many kids that really represented. 330, that's good.
Yeah, it's about 300. For science, it was about 120, which is 5th grade, 8th grade biology. And then for social studies, it was about 77 kids, which is 8th grade, 11th grade.
And the last thing, looking at this information, when we closed our schools, you don't really know where it's going to go, where they're going to land, and whatnot. And kudos to Tom Brown and Sanders. Those two faculties just rocked. They did a really, really good job. And you know, they left they left it all on the table. Their kiddos left it all on the tables, and kudos to them. And I'm sure that once they went into the transfer portal, that everybody was trying to negotiate those contracts and get them onto their team, because that's some really strong faculty. When you look at the number, not only did they had an 89 and 86, but the number of distinctions that they had. Tom Brown Middle School was the only school that we had 7 distinctions, if I'm correct in that. And Sanders was one of a handful that had 6 distinctions. That's 13 distinctions between 2 schools that we farmed everybody out. Thank you, and thank you to your team too.
Mr. Barrera?
Wow. Kudos to the instructional leaders on the campus, principals, and their awesome teachers. You know, making incremental growth on campuses is challenging, But when you have these campuses making, jumping whole letter grades, adding to their distinctions, just kudos to them. Congratulations to them. It's evident all their, we're always trying to hit a moving target. We hit the moving target this time, and congratulations. So we used to do parades and give them banners when Dr. Guetta was here. I don't know if we can do that, but this is amazing work. Congratulations to everybody. I do want to focus on Cunningham at South Park.
Yes.
I want to ensure that I was in that same situation when Colin, I had to take somebody's letter grade, and they're going to engage in a lot of extra work, and that's the thing is, they don't need more paperwork, action plans. What they need is they need bodies in there to make sure that they decrease their classroom sizes. They have people to pull out. They need bodies in there, and that's the same thing. One of the things I always ask for, and I've asked for relative performance,
Yes.
and I'm always going to keep asking for relative performance.
I have.
That's the heart of our, ensuring, developing the minds and hearts and minds of all of our students, every student, learner, graduate. If you look here at school improvement, you look at emergent bilingual, special education, we need to ensure that we focus on those, because we can be doing great, but if we don't hit these 2-3 years in a row, TA is going to be breathing down our neck, and I want to make sure, and I know that's going to happen with Dr. Wagner and Cameron and her team. They're going to do some phenomenal work, but ask us for what, I know that today was the 10th day, I believe, and we're going to be looking at leveling. So if there are any floating bodies around, they need to go to South Park. They need to go to these campuses here to make sure that we assist them with that process. But kudos to y'all's team.
And just to piggyback off that, we actually met with the team at Cunningham at South Park today, myself, Amanda Cameron, and Dr. Pettis, and we are very much all on board with making sure that we provide the support for these campuses. We completely understand, so
And I would
thank
be
you.
remiss to say, I know that Mr. Noyola has no doubt that he's going to be able to turn it around. He turned around Haas. I was not able to turn around Haas in 3 years. That's very challenging. And so I know that he's going to do an excellent job at Cunningham at South Park. So thank you.
Absolutely. We told him this is the year, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. I had just a couple comments, and I know I jumped in earlier because I was so excited I couldn't help it. But the science improvement is really something notable, and I was excited to see having a student that, without knowing any data, just came home and would not complain, that's not the right word, but just not feel like they were getting enough support in science for a couple years in the past, and feeling that at home. And now seeing these gains and seeing a joy and a love of science and seeing that more in-depth work being done, I can appreciate how it's really coming through, and we're seeing the results. So I really was excited to see that, and I want to congratulate you guys on that work. And then a question on the STAR Alt 2 again. On everything else, we're seeing a comparison from years past,
Yes.
indicating growth or no growth. Well, mostly growth, of course. Let's highlight the positives. But on the Alt 2, we don't have that. Could somebody get me just a comparison
can.
from the previous year to this year so we can kind of see where those
And
students?
It's pretty consistent year
Is
over
it?
year, yes. But I can get it for you. Just didn't
Okay.
fit on the slide.
But it is on the slide.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
See, I mean, it's really
Oh, yeah.
small, and I
It
was
is
trying
really
to read it
small.
up there. But
On the left
Yeah.
slide, it starts
24,
with
25,
RLA 2024, then RLA 2025,
okay,
then
I'm
RLA
sorry. I
2026.
just can't read the numbers.
No, I know.
It's hard
And
to
I
fit it
tried
all
to
in.
expand it, and I can't.
Yes.
It's-
But we
I'm
can get it to
probably
you in
Yes.
an easier readable format.
Okay.
We definitely can.
And then a note, when Dr. Hawkins was asking about the parental notification portal, I would agree that the TEA notification portal is very family-friendly, user-friendly. It's really great. I don't know. I know I'm not the only one that went through this because I heard from other people, but with home access, some people were able to access through the home access because we have it available through that. Some people were not. I was not because home access reset, and I'm still trying to reset my password, frankly. And that's, I guess I need to call the campus. I know that's just haven't done that. But anyway, I was able to look up the ID number and get through because I have
Were you able to
saved
see
the
it
past
then?
ones, and I was able to see it, yes. But it was kind of a laborious process. So just a note, if that was right after school let out and nobody was at the campuses to call to reset.
Yes.
So if we're going through resets or if they periodically reset and it's STAR test results are coming out and parents want to find them, we might make sure we're like,
I struggled with my
have
home
done
access as well. So we did reach out to technology and working with Mr. Knipes' office, just sending out emails on a recurring basis with instructions on how to reset passwords, because we know many families were struggling to get back into home access centers.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to do that.
great. Okay, thank you so much. Anybody else before we leave this? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's going to take us to our consent agenda.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Did he say second?
No.
But you can second and we can, but you can second.
I'm gonna second, and we'll just wait for your.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm just going to go by memory here, so to speak. Earlier in the week, last Wednesday, I think, well, at the present review, we looked at the consent items, and I, in particular, had a question relative to the item relative to special education, and question about finances, et cetera, and staffing. Then later, I spoke with Mrs. Griffith to try to get some more information, and she was very, very swift to get information out to me in reference to 3 questions that I had, and Brian copied everyone just so that everyone was on board with some of the items that I had asked. But a couple of questions came up even with those responses. We are looking in that budget amendment relative to special ed, and Dr. Arsmendi, that was kind of the item that I wanted to talk to you about. But it talks about 14 staff members, but we have going in secondary only. So we have 16 secondary schools. So what are we doing for the other 2 that are, are we going to be short making this adjustment in 2 of our secondary schools? That's one question.
Okay, so in the comprehensive traditional secondary campuses, meaning your traditional middle schools and your traditional high schools, that equals 14 positions that were redesigned for this year. The campuses that weren't redesigned don't run traditional caseloads and traditional master scheduling. So the 14 positions used to be special ed chair positions, and they were redesigned to be instructional and compliance coaches. One, because they don't have time to teach in their schedule, and so they're not eligible for TIA. And so we wanted to remedy that. So to align it to our instructional coaches that we have on many of our campuses, this position was redesigned to that, so that $5,000 stipend in lieu of TIA, but also to help build leadership capacity on the campus. So special ed is becoming so dynamic and complex that there's just not enough staff in this building to be on campuses and really help with the instructional implementation. And because it's so evolutionary, even our campus principals and APs are having a hard time keeping up with the changes. So we're wanting to build our pipeline in special education, and we've identified these secondary former chairs, now instructional and compliance coaches, to be that person. So that's why those 14 positions have a stipend that was increased from $1,875 to $5,000. The other campuses will maintain their chair position and receive a $1,875 stipend.
And I saw that in part of the answer, and it identified the schools that were going to be in that category. But maybe I just miscounted the 14 to the 16. And again, so in lieu of them being, well, they're going to be teachers. If I can
No,
say
they're
that.
not teachers.
Okay.
Not
Well,
so
they're
not
coaches.
coded as in PEMS. They're not coded as teachers.
So then they're not eligible for TIA at all. But in reference to adding the responsibilities of being coaches, okay, and assuming more of the special ed support and working with teachers and the campus, that their stipend was increased $3,000 plus to make it $5,000 total.
That is correct.
Right. Okay. So, and that equaled the amount that's in the budget amendment, which is 1.4 million? if I'm
Well, I
not
think that
mistaken.
was the total budget. I think that's for all stipend positions. I mean,
But I
because,
understood it was just for those 14.
well, so I don't know that the 14 positions come to 1.4 million.
And I'm not, it's a million plus, okay?
Right.
I don't know but, because I divided that, and, if it was only 14 and it was that amount, every chairperson is receiving $71,000
Yeah.
plus.
Right.
And they'll be getting their stipend also, so.
Right.
Okay.
So I believe that amount might be all of our special ed stipends, about 1 point.
Yeah, well, two things. I want to.
I'll let Karen answer that question
Yeah,
because she
well,
prepared.
At this
I
point
can-
in this discussion, that's not necessary. That's something we can do later.
Okay.
But 2 points that I want to make. Special education, as far as we all know, has always been a challenge. And one of the things that we had discussed in our finance committee meetings, and also amongst some of us here, that, because of the responsibilities, could we possibly at least look at increasing some stipends? That's been done, and that's awesome. And I think, and I can see the merit of that. But I guess as we look at budget amendments, the money is coming from special ed and just being rerouted. It's not additional money that we're putting in there. And that's the second part of my concern. Excuse me, not concern, but my question is, as we look at our, our spending practices, and as we look at personnel, and as we look at needs, certainly, that, we want to make sure that our pennies, to the point, are, being utilized in the most, prudent way. And I guess I presume the issue of raising that question as our responsibility as board members, fiduciary-wise, to make sure that our spending is on target. And when we talk about adding assistants, especially in special ed, that's on target as far as I'm concerned. But we just wanted to get that clarified and better understand what it was, what that budget amendment was doing.
Sure.
In reference to, is that the total amount, or is it just that? That's something you can share with us later, and I would appreciate, maybe in a board report to the superintendent, and then we can just kind of see that. But that was my curiosity as far as that amount. So thank you very much for the explanation.
Thank you.
That was it. There's a
Yeah, we have a motion by Mr. Villarreal and a second by Mr. Clark. Let's give it one more try. Well, it looks a little different
Aye.
this time. Okay, well, show of hands, all in favor? Aye, all right, opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we have our action items. We're going to have Ms. Griffith come and talk to us about an approval of our recommended employee health plan changes for the 2027 plan year.
Good evening, Madam President and school board trustee members and Dr. Hernandez. My name is Christy Warnke. I am your director, proud director of the Office of Employee Benefits and Risk Management. At this time, I would like to bring up to the podium and introduce to you Laura Gwaltney with Walker and Associates, who will review with you the 2027 health plan changes.
Well, good evening, everyone. And thank you, President Trolley. I've learned a lot tonight, and Dr. Hernandez and board members. We've covered, SHAC, and we've covered STAR. And I learned that President Trolley received a certificate from TASB for a year-long program. That's amazing. And Dr. Hernandez is being considered as a finalist for Superintendent of the Year. So in the spirit of learning, we're going to talk a little bit about your health plan tonight. Is it the arrows? Okay, just making sure. So let's talk a little bit about your self-funded health plan. Sometimes we forget that about 165 million people receive their health care from their employer. So it's important for employer plans to be vital in that way to attract and retain robust employees, and also to enhance compensation packages. And some of the benefits that you get by being self-funded are that you retain the savings if you have them. So if CCISD has a good year with claims and you're controlling that cost, there's the potential for you to create some reserve and have some savings. You also get to customize your benefits. In a fully insured environment, you don't get to really do that. So you get to listen to the needs of your people, you get to set your own premiums, and you get to control your plan design. Really, this is all driven by data. So we have all the access that you need in a self-funded environment to know what the cost drivers are in the plan, to know what the trends are in your health plan, and to know when to pivot and forecast changes that may really help with your savings. So let's look at the two differences in terms of funding. So on the left side, we have fully insured. So in this environment, if CCISD were fully insured, the premium that you would be paying on that plan would be 100% non-refundable. Not to mention you have no control in that environment to either design the plan, have access to information in terms of data, and you don't get to control any of it. In your self-insured environment, you have the potential to control all of these costs. Fixed costs, of course, are set, your stop-loss insurance and your administrative expensive. But we're really looking at those top three boxes, the variable costs, right? Funding is what you decide to put into the health plan. It's also the premiums that the employees pay toward the cost of the care. Actual claims, you pay as you go. So as your claims come in, you're paying those. You're not paying any cushion to an insurance company. And then if there's any potential savings, CCISD gets to retain that. So in this environment, you have the best opportunity to control your costs. And every employer is trying to do this. With medical inflation at 9% and prescription inflation at 13%, it requires discipline in looking at how we're controlling the cost of the claims. And why is that so important? If we look at your spend at 6 months, you're projected by year end to spend $40 million. That sounds like a lot of money because it is. Last year, your net plan costs for 2025 were $43 million. So we've already begun to help shrink that spend, and we'll look at all the pieces of that strategy. But what's important in this picture is to understand that your costs are being driven by your claims, both medical and prescription. It is 90% of your cost. Your fixed costs are only 10%. So if we're going to make the health plan cost less, if we're going to try to contain the spend of the health plan, then we really have to address what's happening with claims. And claims go out into your retail network of Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is one of the best discounted networks out there, right? The discounting is about 70%. But still, we understand medical care, healthcare is very expensive. So we're really trying to control the cost of retail care, both with plan design and some of the programs that we've implemented to save money. So let's look at how we've done that. So our strategy is kind of a multifaceted approach to address that 90% of spend. The first part of it is plan design changes. Plan design really drives how people use the plan. So increasing deductibles, increasing out-of-pockets, looking at medical and prescription copays. We all know that GLP-1 drugs are a major cost driver in most health plans. So when we look at the claims, we're actually trying to target the areas where there needs to be more cost sharing. and we looked at the formulary, the list of drugs that's available to the school and to the members that use the health plan, and we did change that for additional savings. We also looked at utilization management programs. This is sort of in the background how the sausage is made. These are clinical programs that really help cost contain and help members access services. So right now you have a utilization management program called Flex Access. This targets drugs and helps members gain access to valuable copay assistance program and manufacturer's assistance program. So the utilization programs are really built to help both plans save money and member get better access to care. One of the options that we're looking at for this year will be an additional plan that would give us a new network called Blue Essentials. And then we look at our second part of our multifaceted approach, which is cost sharing. Some of that you just heard. So this is increased cost sharing both through plan design and also through increases to premiums. So we need to have the funding align with your spend. And right now, since you're spending about $40 million, we want to try to get that down to align with your funding, which is about $38 million. We're recommending a little bit of an increase to that funding through premium increases for this year. And then the third part of the approach, which is the most important part, are programs to save on retail care. So at the beginning of 2026, we launched an outpatient surgical program called Lantern. There's to date been about $461,000 in savings with the Lantern program. Currently, there's 31 open cases, and that touches a variety of service lines like orthopedics, cardiac, et cetera. And then we're looking at any other arrangement where we can go direct to providers and get retail care at lower prices, whether it's Medicare Plus pricing or a low PEPM per employee per month cost. And so we've looked at a variety of arrangements for plugging in some additional programs, and we'll go into those later. Drug channel and sourcing, PAP programs, CAP programs, these are all ways to help pay down the cost of drugs before they hit your plan. So this allows members to access that valuable patient assistance programs or copay assistance programs, which are free dollars that help pay down the cost of their medication and help it never hit the CCISD plan, which is a great savings. Any questions so far? Because we've covered a lot. Okay. So let's look at your cost drivers for this year. Last year we had some of the same cost drivers, high cost claimants, of course, and these are claims that go over the $50,000 mark and up to your specific threshold of $400,000. Once they reach that $400,000 threshold, you have reinsurance that kicks in and reimburses the plan. And this is part of the protection over the plan's exposure. But high cost claimants are a big driver of spend in the plan, and it bleeds over into other service lines. So high-cost claimants can touch specialty service, outpatient services, inpatient services, and laboratory. Another cost driver is surgical, both outpatient and inpatient. We've seen a 34.9% increase in the cost of outpatient. And these used to be reversed. Inpatient used to be where people were getting surgeries. Now that's completely shifted into the outpatient setting. So this is now the new cost driver for most employer plans. ER is a very big consideration that needs to get some focus on it. We have about 39% of the visits that are going into the emergency room are not considered true emergencies. Why are people going there? It's because they do not have doctors. Okay, there's a large provider gap in the Corpus market. So often when people would go maybe see their doctor or to an urgent care, sometimes it's not convenient, they don't have a doctor, so they end up in the most convenient place, which is the emergency room. And it's very costly to the plan. And often there is no collection of the patient responsibility. We also see an increase to professional office visits. So the average office visit is costing the plan about $191. So these are the main cost drivers for the plan for this year. we can kind of look at these in a little bit more detail. So if you look at the top 5 cancer diagnoses, the first one, bone cancer, $206,000 paid per claimant. So on average, if you look at all of these top claims in cancer, the average cancer claim is about $7,200. Okay, seems like not that much, but when you add up the volume of how many claims you have, you can see that it represents 35% of your top 20 diagnoses, over $50,000. So these are what we consider high-cost claimants. And we know there's going to be cancer in the plan, right? It's unfortunate, but we know there's going to be catastrophic claims. So one of the areas that we're looking at here is expanding the Lantern program, which is the outpatient surgical program, to address specialty cancer claims. So this could be a tremendous savings over several years. The first year savings would be about $250,000. So we would be getting these retail cancer claims at Medicare Plus pricing in the Lantern program. It can't touch every type of cancer, but it can absolutely carve away some of these catastrophic claims. If we look at emergency room visits, the average ER visit is $2,100, and there are a lot of very popular emergency room settings in the market, and often employees do not know the difference between what is an urgent care and what is an emergency room until you get the bill, because it used to be members got the bill, but now with the No Surprises Billing Act, if a member goes to an emergency room and has a $40,000 balanced bill, that is going to come to the plan. That is never going to go to the member because of this new legislation. So the plan has to be very diligent in managing and steering members to go to lower cost care settings, because this is driving a lot of spend in your plan. For just 6 months, you had 730 visits, roughly, $1.5 million in retail care for just the 700 visits that went to the emergency room. So it's about reallocating those dollars and spending them more wisely on lower cost care outside of the retail setting. And then we look at outpatient costs. On average, your outpatient service is around $3,000 to the plan. And of course, members are picking up their patient share in deductibles and out-of-pockets, but this is the plan per visit paid amount. And this amount is up by 34%. So it, again, steering members into those lower cost care settings like Lantern, which is a medical tourism benefit, which you might have to travel, but there's no out-of-pocket cost to members when they use Lantern. And the CCISD plan is getting those claims at a much lower cost than if they had gone into the Blue Cross Blue Shield network. Any questions so far? Okay, great. So now we look at 2027. We're really trying to look at that average claim value. This is the dollar amount that the underwriter puts on every claim that is spent by CCISD. So this is attached to your enrollment. So they think each one of your 3,200 members is going to spend around $1,300. And that's if we do nothing. We make no plan changes. We add no programs. That's what they say the claims are going to cost. Well, it's expensive. That's about $46 million. So we want to try to cut that down by working on plan design and putting in new programs. Just with the plan design changes that we're proposing tonight, that will bring the average claim value already down to $1,194. So that's a significant savings on the renewal. If we add a third plan option with a new network called Blue Essentials, it's an HMO network, that will bring an additional 11% savings to the plan. Then we add Lantern. So if we bring in the Lantern Cancer Program, that's an additional savings of $250,000. And just to let you know, the 11% savings represents about $4.2 million. So that's a good chunk of savings to the plan by adding a third option, which will be higher cost sharing but lower premium. And then we have an additional estimated savings with our proposed direct primary care solution with next level urgent care. And that's an additional annual savings of $3.4 million. There is an investment behind that of 1.6. But right now, the way that your plan is performing, we need each of your savings buckets to be $1 million plus, $500,000 plus. So we've really got to get carving away at that retail care. The direct primary care arrangement, we looked at several, and direct primary care can be also a network of clinics that you can access, or direct primary care could be just primary care and wellness. There are some solutions that just only do those two things. Or you can have one that has kind of a more robust set of services. So with Next Level, we actually will get urgent care, x-ray, lab, primary care, telemedicine, mental health services, and there's actually quite a bit more. All of that would be free to CCISD members, and then CCISD would make the investment of $30 per employee per month, or $60 per family per month in order for them to access that program. And we think it's vital because there's really a provider gap, and what you're spending on retail care just for the emergency visits in 6 months could actually pay for this program. So we'll look at your renewal. Your fixed costs right now are in a credit. You have a large rebate credit that's in guarantee right now, and that's towards your prescriptions. So you'll notice, you'll see the an admin and your total fixed cost. Those are both a credit. Right now, a net credit of $2 million. The plan changes that we have showed you just now with adding the HMO, Blue Essentials, and adding Lantern Cancer will get us the $5.2 million in savings. If we add the Next Level program, they have a very expansive telemedicine option for people to get guaranteed primary care within 24 hours of them making an appointment. So we could do away with ReadyMD as an option because we will have robust virtual care in this new solution. And combined with all of these programs and savings, we've actually, on paper, gotten your funding in line with your spend. And that is very important because that's how we're going to keep your insurance fund healthy over the long term. Any questions about the renewal? So with Next Level Prime, we had them do a cost savings analysis of the CCISD claims that they can see in their care setting. So they can carve away emergency room costs, they can carve away at primary care, urgent care, lab, and mental health, which is not shown here. But the total of those 4 buckets alone is about $8 million. So we're basically taking retail money that we've been spending on care on the left side, and we're going to funnel it into this program with Next Level. And by doing that, we get a tremendous savings to the plan. And these are conservative estimates based on actual severity codes. So they're looking at which codes can they treat of the claims that are happening in the CCISD plan. So that leaves you a net savings of $1.7 million, really a savings to the plan of $3.4 million. So we're recommending the installation of the Next Level program for 2027, and they are offering a flexible 1-year arrangement for the district so that after that 12 months is over, you're able to really see how that program has performed. Any questions? Okay, these are the plan design changes that we're proposing for this year. In the traditional plan, there will be changes to the out-of-pocket, to copays. There will also be a higher penalty for going to the emergency room when it is a non-emergent situation, and that will be tacked on to employee claims. It's a $500 penalty for going to the emergency room for non-emergent reasons. If we install the Next Level program, the Next Level urgent care will be the care setting that we would be steering folks into which would be completely free and no out-of-pocket cost for members. On the HDHP plan, there will be a change to the deductible, to the out-of-pocket, and to the co-insurance. It also carries the same non-emergent ER penalty of $500. And then we're proposing a new HMO plan with the Blue Essentials Network, which is actually very broad. It includes a lot of the favorite facilities that are here in the Corpus area. And the plan design is really a higher amount of cost sharing for a lower premium. So it has the highest deductible and out-of-pocket of the three plans, but does carry the lowest premium of all three plans. Any questions? Yes.
Talked about this, and I don't remember seeing this $500 penalty for anybody going to the emergency room. Now, that penalty would apply if an employee buys into this plan and for whatever reason, and I'm trying to understand, for whatever reason, they end up in the ER, and is there a time in the clock, 24-hour clock, 7-day a week, is there a time when those locations that are provided, is there a time that those are closed, or is it a 24/7?
So most care settings in Corpus are not 24 hours, except for emergency rooms and hospitals are typically the only care setting that's open 24 hours. There are some that bill as an urgent care during the day, and then at night bill as an emergency room. So that's a problem because most people don't know that.
Right.
And then if they go to, for instance, Next Level, if we're able to install that program, that would be open from 9 to 9. So it has extended hours and it's open on the weekend. And I think that that's often when we see people going to the emergency room is after hours and on the weekend.
But still,
So no, it's not 24 hours.
I know, and that's what I'm saying, that patient would be charged that $500. Right.
So the penalty
But she's
was-
saying, excuse me, she's saying that we have 12-hour services, right? 9 to 9, 7 to 7.
Correct, 9
Okay.
to 9.
And so there is a gap there where the urgent care or our, whatever, this extra service is not available, and a patient goes to the emergency room belonging to this plan, they get a $500 penalty assessed.
Only if the reason why they're being seen is a non-emergent medical code. So if someone is being seen for a respiratory illness like a common cold in the emergency room, that is the claim that's going to get a penalty, not a true emergent code with a severity attached to it. There was a penalty built into the plan last year of $150. We're just increasing that penalty because of the behavior of so many people going to the emergency room for non-emergent conditions. That 35% of the visits that went in 6 months were people going for regular things, which does happen because it's convenient. And so that's what we're trying to do, is add a convenient, free option that helps with accessing care and removing barriers like having to pay copays or having to be subject to a penalty in the plan. If there's Next Level as an option, members can go there and avoid most of their out-of-pocket cost.
I just want to make sure, when they're open, when they're open. I just want to make sure that our employees clearly understand that. Because for example, I got a couple of shards of glass in my foot a few days ago. And thankfully, my niece came in and dug it out. But I'm still trying to walk around thinking I'm feeling that glass in my foot. But had she not been able to come, or I made the decision to go to the emergency room because one of those clinics was not open, and I don't expect you to be a doctor or whatever, but I would feel like shards of glass in my foot would precipitate me going somewhere to see a doctor for fear that I couldn't even get around. So I'm just kind of concerned about that portion and people's interpretation of what they believe is emergency or whatever. So I'm not going to belabor that point, but that's just something that's stuck in my head.
I appreciate your comments, and I think it's an education process, having people understand the health plan and the right places to go for the right situation, because those care settings do drive cost, both for member and for plan. So you're right, it really does come down to education, and I think that that's the direction that sort of revealed itself in the fiscal committee, is that really the education at every campus is important. Dr. Wagner brought that up, so that everyone knows, hey, we need to go here and it won't cost us anything. It has extended hours, and when we can't go there, we'll go here, but we understand that there's gonna be more cost sharing out of our pocket if we go to that higher cost setting, right? Like an emergency room.
Well, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that our employees get a clear understanding of that, because we don't want these surprises, or maybe, they're tired when they're listening to the spiel and they missed that or something like that.
Yes, let's hope that they listen.
Yes.
Any more questions about the plan design? And so we always want to look each year at the TRS comparison. While your plans are not apples to apples with the TRS plans, TRS does offer 3 types of plans. So they offer TRS primary, they offer an HD plan, which is a high deductible health plan, and then they offer an HMO. So the offerings here at CCISD will be similar. You'll have your traditional plan, your high deductible plan, and now you'll be offering a third HMO option. While HMOs sometimes are thought of as difficult because they require the selection of a primary care physician, we are going to work, hopefully with Next Level, to have one of their physicians set up as a primary care option for people that choose the HMO plan. So while it will have more cost sharing, we're doing our very, very best to make sure that everyone has access to these sort of low out-of-pocket or no out-of-pocket cost services, because we do know that cost sharing is high sometimes in plans, and we're asking people to pay more in deductible, more in out-of-pocket. While deductibles and out-of-pockets won't touch most of your employees, everybody being able to get free primary and urgent care and lab will touch thousands of people. So, any questions about the TRS comparison? Okay, and then this just gives you a snapshot of your health plan enrollment. You have 2 health plans currently. The way that we've made the assumptions on the renewal is that you may get about 5 to 10% migration into that new third plan option with Blue Essentials. But this really shows you that you have a tremendous amount of people enrolled in those employee child and employee family tiers. So, making changes to the plan, it's just important to know who's enrolled where. And then this is showing CCISD's premiums, which I think are, these are the right, yeah, the updated ones. So this shows CCISD's premiums in comparison to local other school districts in the area. Any questions about these? Okay. So this is the end of our presentation, but I'm very open and welcome to your questions about anything having to do with the health plan performance of 2026 or the renewal for 2027.
You're making a statement. Well, I'm talking about closing up. My kids do that.
I'll go go ahead and get things started here real quick. First off, thank you for this information. I know that you and Karen and staff has been working diligently to find cost savings in everything that we do and whatnot. And it's, you know, it's a Rubik's Cube, and you guys are working extremely hard. And I really appreciate you guys doing that. It looks like they have a lot of options, and it's going to take a big teach piece. I think it's important that everybody should know that you guys have sat down with us individually as a group, you know, and really kind of answered a lot of the questions. It's probably not why you're not going to see a lot of questions right now. And I think it's real important that the public understands that we've had ongoing conversations about this and whatnot. And, you know, trust me, we've had a lot of questions, a lot of information, a lot of back and forth and whatnot. So I think it's important that everybody understand that we've been having conversations, and this presentation is comprehensive was. There was a lot more stats to this as well. And I appreciate you guys doing what you've done and bringing this to us. It's a hard decision for us, I promise you that, because we have 5,000 employees and their families that depend on us to come up with some type of health plan, especially when you start looking at the number of employees that we've actually had cancer and whatnot, and then the decision to go to an emergency room or not go to an emergency room, and hopefully we've got something that we can take a look at on that. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments.
Do we have any other comments on the health? This is just a note. We have another action item right after this too, so I know we may have other comments on that too.
I just want to commend Dolly for allowing you to come and talk to the other half of the team, and because it did allow for us to have a lot of information that we didn't have, or we wouldn't have, or we would be sitting here till 9, 10 o'clock tonight asking those questions. And so I just want to thank you for allowing us to have that presentation, because it really was fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this portion? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the recommended employee health plan changes for the 2027 plan year?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Who was that? Me. Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Bell and a second by Mr. Villarreal. We'll try it since y'all are clicking.
We're getting the no nod from.
Nope. All right. By show of hands, can I say all those are in favor? Okay. Motion carries. Yeah. Hopefully it just needs a hard reset. Okay. And now we have the second part, which is the approval and contractual agreement with NLUCP LLC, Next Level Urgent Care, for acute and primary care medical services.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Bell and a second by Dr. Hawkins. And I know we may have some comments. Anybody?
Just real quick, I want to be sure this is just for a one-year contract. I see you hiding over there, Ms. Griffin. It's just a one-year contract, correct?
Yes, it is.
Just 1 year. And with we're going to have one brick and mortar up October the 1st, correct?
Yes, would you like to talk with Allison?
No, I just need a yes or no. We're going to have one up on an open, we have employees that can go knocking on the door on October 1st or October the 2nd. And we're going to have a second brick and mortar up. Yeah.
I think it's November.
No, we're doing.
Well, it'll start in January, right?
Nope. Right? I understand we're doing 14 months?
Correct, starting November 1st through the end of
So
next
14.
year.
So it's a 14-month contract.
It's so that you can start early.
Sure,
essentially.
which is good.
Yes.
And then we'll have a second brick and mortar open on January the 1st. Is that correct?
No, it'll be Q3 of next year.
February the 3rd,
Third
2 to 3
quarter of 27.
of 27. Okay, 20, okay. After the first of the year, February 27. Okay, so we'll have, within the next 6 months, we'll have 2 brick and mortar places open that our employees.
She's saying the third quarter of 2027, so the end of 2027.
Oh, okay.
That is correct. Q3 of next year.
Okay. And because that's just, if we're going to jump in, we need to have the facilities available and ready November 1st. And then obviously because I know you didn't really touch on it, but we've also, this next level is also going to be partnered with the city and the port as well, correct?
Yes, the second location was actually a location that we all collectively decided on regarding where your employees live and the best location for them.
It's a great location. We just need to put a tent or something up there and let's go. and because if we're going to have this option, and this is what this is, an option, we're going to offer 3 different health plans to our employees, and then they have this option to go use these facilities to offset, hopefully, cost to us and keep them out of the emergency room and stuff like that. That I just want to be sure that you know, when if it does pass, that we're good to go on next level, at the next level. Ms. Warnicki.
Thank you. I just would like to get on the record that it is Allison Waybright with Next Level who has traveled to address the board.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a quick comment on the teach piece. I know we've talked about it a lot, but this for our staff is to ensure that our team knows, you know, either we're part of the problem, part of the solution. If we follow the great plans that we have in place, we're gonna see the benefits on this part. And I was part of that problem, but I want to make sure that we go throughout the district and educate
Yes.
so that we can change those behaviors. Thank you.
Thank you. My office, we have already built an extensive, we're taking the show on the road to every campus, to every piece of property that the district owns, departments. We have requests. We have, again, an extensive schedule. Next Level has committed to providing the district its own pieces to the program. So we will also be updating our employee guide, that beautiful red booklet. We will have specific information about the new plan offering with the HMO, as well as the services provided, a whole page dedicated to Next Level. So, and it's not just education for open enrollment, it will be all throughout the year. And by the way, we also have all materials provided in English and Spanish.
Okay, if I may, Mr. Trolley, you know, this is probably one of the larger examples of attempting to really look deeply into a program that is for our employees as a total board. You know, all of us have had our opinions, all of us have had our questions. The issues really surround the consistency of how we're going to help and change the behavior of our employees. And, you know, and what was just shared, the issue of the education piece will be immensely relevant and a challenge for all of us, because it's going to basically be the first time in a while that we go to every department, every school, and that those meetings are required. And I know, and you know, we've had several meetings, we've talked about it, you've afforded the opportunity, as Mrs. Hawkins talked about, as far as all of us having a one-on-one, so to speak, or three-on-one, and then beyond that, lots of other side discussions, both with Mrs. Griffith and you both, and Christy, and we greatly appreciate that. But in the end, we're hoping to be aggressive to see, as we start into this journey, those savings, but yet again to see the support that we have for all our employees as we get into this particular thing, because insurance and benefits are so critical. And I feel certain, you know, we even Allison, you were able to host us at a clinic in San Antonio. You know, we kind of made a walkthrough as to what that kind of would look like here. And, there's been a lot of effort, but as you all are very patient and understanding, but then there's been a lot of questions. And the only aspect of that is we want to ensure that what we invest in is cost effective, obviously, but more importantly, it's not so much the cost. It is relative and it's important. We want to see the savings. One of our colleagues mentioned we're going to watch this every month like a hawk, and there's 7 hawks up here that are going to be kind of watching those things happen. But I guess I look into this as being positive, and we've asked for even some of the information is going to be shared with the employees to be shared with us prior to that happening. But these are all things that we want to ensure that our employees understand. This is not something that we thought about or wanted to and took a day or two to come up with some decisions and came here and made a decision. No, it's been since March, basically, I think, since we started looking at these opportunities. So I just wanted to make those comments, and I want to ensure our employees that there are benefits and there are savings, but we want to make sure that habitually understand what it is that we need to kind of change some of the things we've done and afford ourselves the opportunity to get some of these benefits free of charge. So just wanted to make those comments. Thank you, Ms. Trolley.
Dr. Hawkins.
I just have one question. What is the possible total number of eligible employees out of all of the entities, the city, our district, and what is it, the board? What is the possible total number of people that can take advantage of this? Do you have those numbers? Well, all
Will
of
be
them
open to
don't.
the public too.
The possibility is per clinic. That's how we kind of look at things, because there is a capacity at each clinic that we can handle. And it depends on the number of providers that we have at each clinic and the medical assistants to assist those providers. And so with this one clinic, we're looking to have 3 providers there on staff to handle all the population that we have between the district, the city, and the port. And they can see, each provider can see 40 patients a day in person. But you also have the ability that you have unlimited access to us virtually and telemedicine. So you have another array of providers each day that you have access to as well, just not the in-person staff.
Okay, I remember that conversation, us having that conversation, but my question is, what is the possible total number of people that can take with the 3 entities? And I know this is not perfect science, but what is the average number of people that it's going to actually be visiting the first clinic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the total number of employees that we have contracted between the 3 entities is just under 7,500.
Okay. Thank you.
But to be clear, the facility will be open to the public as well.
Yes, it will.
So that's just the people who are signing a contract.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so anybody in the public can come to us just for urgent care services, where they can use their insurance or pay cash for a visit.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, I echo a lot of my colleague up here's sentiments that we have done a lot of due diligence on this, and thank you for your patience and spending the time with us to do this. And for me, I've heard also from some of our employees that this is something that they really want us to pursue. And so I think for speaking for myself, the deliberation has been because we have just overcome a tremendous budget deficit, and we worked really hard with a lot of your help to do that. So jumping into any big new expenditure is just really something we want to be very careful about, especially when it's completely dependent on changing all of our employees' behaviors. So I would say, but I understand the need. I mean, I get it. And I get that we want to provide options for our employees, and I really value the staff recommendations here and all the time they've spent with us again. So I am willing to go with this plan and the staff recommendation. And I am glad we're going to do it for 1 year to start. And that's really, I think, so we all collectively, deliberately look at this again in a year and see what our progress has been in the implementation piece and education piece. And so we make a deliberate decision to continue and see how we're doing. As you said, I think education process, I wrote that down when you said that. It's going to be an education process, and we really want to look at that, how that looks in a year, just like we do with our accountability and everything else. And so I'm pleased that we're going to be doing this for 1 year and then all reconvening. Well, if we vote on, I mean, that's right. Let me back up. If it passes, but I mean that's the suggestion, I guess, is what I should say. And the last thing I want to say is, we, like I said, I've heard from employees that this is something that they want us to pursue, and so I think we're, I am willing to support that. I hope they support us as a district in pursuing it with all of the attention to the avenues that they have to take advantage of these things and to help us as a district to save resources and implement this properly so that we can all move forward and see the benefits of it and keep going. So if anybody's listening or they're out there really watching this, I hope that they participate as a team and we can all work together on this. So thank you again for all the time. Does anybody else have anything?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a first and a second. A motion. I'm sorry. Right.
Oh,
right.
okay, I didn't hear that. I second.
Mr. Bell made the motion. Dr. Hawkins made the second. And can I see a show of hands who is approving? Okay, against? All right, can let the record show all board members voted for and Mr. Clark against, and motion carries.
You say that now. Okay.
But you're serving health plan members, and I appreciate your support. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That's going to bring us to our calendar, and we have our Operation Keys phone bank coming up on August 26th. And then on September 9th, we have our Ray Homecoming Parade and the burning of the tea. The 12th, our Operation Keys Walk. And then our next board meeting is September 14th. And then our College Expo at the university at A&M Corpus Christi is on the 16th. And then a regular board meeting on the 28th. That'll take us to our Board of Trustees remarks. And we will start with Mr. Barrera. Okay. Good.
School visits were awesome. Had a lot of fun. Went out to Creekside, and they had all the mascots that ever walked Corpus Christi were there, and so I got to see the pictures. I got a picture with all the mascots. Pretty cool. Kudos to the kids. I tell you what, kudos to Kyle in the transportation department, because those guys they're working extremely hard, and it's never a perfect, but they're working as hard as they can to be as good as they can.
I'll just go since we're right here, and I don't have much to add. We've had a long meeting, but I did want to thank Miss Gloria Hicks today. Some of us were at Gloria Hicks Elementary, and were there for her to support her as she was giving some grants and supplies and gifts to the teachers of her school, and it was really a great celebration, and so lovely to see her appreciate everybody at that campus and celebrate their success. No. Mr. Clark? Okay.